Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off. Gloves Off is always on point. On point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.
We're back at you in Gloves Off, and today we have a great friend, Commissioner Jesse Gonzalez. How are we doing?
Oh, appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Good. Tell us what's going on in 2019.
In 2019 in Webb County, well, we've been staying busy, as a court, throughout Webb County, and more than anything in Precinct 1, we have a lot of stuff coming up. We've been working on several projects and issues that are surrounding, Precinct 1. If the people don't know, Precinct 1 is separated into different areas. We have El Cenizo, which is an incorporated city, Rio Bravo, which is an incorporated city. Those falls under the responsibility of Precinct 1. Then we have Mangana Jaime area, La Presa community. That one's not an incorporated city, so they depend solely on the county, along with the Quad City. I do represent Aguilares and Mirando, also not an incorporated city, so they do depend solely on the county as far as responsibilities, road maintenance, anything that you would have to offer as services. So it's within a community within itself. They're very unique in different ways. So when they ask me, well, what are the issues on Precinct 1, it just depends what area of Precinct we're talking about. So it just depends. They're very different in everything. So that including also the issues.
How many elected officials are in your precinct?
I share my precinct with, and we're talking about city, I share my precinct with 3 city councilmen, District 1, 2, and 3.
And in the county?
Within the county, I do have, well, just depends what you're talking about the county.
How about justice of the peace?
We have 2 justice of the peaces, justice of the peace precinct 1 place 2, precinct 2 place 1, 2 place 1, 2 place 2. We do have the constable precinct 2. I do have also the constable precinct 3, which is in the Quad Cities as well. The JP precinct 3 from the Quad Cities as well. So we do, each precinct is divided equally, and they're pretty big sizes compared to.
So it's probably the most busiest of all the commissioners, right?
If you look
you have the most area. If you look at it that way.
If you look at it that way, talking about incorporated cities, they have their own city mayor, they have their own city commissioners. So I also have 2 city mayors, 4 city commissioners that I need to work with, to be able to provide for the communities that are out there as well. So it is a big responsibility. It keeps me busy, but more than anything, I really do enjoy it. I love working together. I like networking with different organizations, community, people, the community, more than anything, elected officials. Because when we come together, that's when we can definitely do more for the benefit also, of the community more than anything.
So stepping back, what projects in 2018 did you accomplish? And you said, this is what we're proud of, and these are the projects that are lingering, and these are the new projects that we're going to be facing in 2019.
Definitely. I took office in January 1st of 2017, and it's been, a work in progress. Everybody knows you don't do everything that the issues are out there. You don't really cover everything in your first term, and it's been definitely a work in progress. But more than anything, it's been good progress. In 17 and 18. I was able to shuffle some responsibilities around in the Cenizo area, and I opened up the first ever fitness center. Right now in Cenizo, Rio Bravo, they want to come in and join a gym or do Zumba or any type of,
They have to drive to Laredo.
They have to drive to Laredo, and 5-10 miles to get to a gym, and it's talking about it's going to take a toll on your gas monies, your time.
Sure.
So it's tough. So when I met with the community members from that area, they wanted somewhere to go work out. Either in the morning when they drop off their kids, or on their way to work, or when they come back from work. So we do have a fully established, El Cenizo Fitness Center, and it's been going great. We do offer some free Zumba classes out there. It is the only Zumba plus fitness center facility within Webb County, so I'm proud to say that, we broke some barriers there. But more than anything, it was that was about a maybe $50,000 investment, because we already had the building. Over here in Mirando City, in the Quad City, they had some issues. The Mirando City Water Board had some issues with TCQ. They were not in compliance. There was a grant that was awarded to Precinct 1. The need was there, obviously. It had to do with the water. So we were able to establish and build an elevated water storage to hold 60,000 gallons of water for not only be able to service the current population there in Mirando and Aguilares, but also the growth. So now we're good. Now we're in TCQ compliance. We barely did the ribbon cutting sometime last year, so it was a work in progress. I mean, it was a project for over $500,000. It wasn't easy. But more than anything, now we're good with that area. I'm excited to say we have a big project coming up in Manganaheim, the La Presa community. Right now we're building a park. The park is approximately about $160,000. Yes, a park is exciting. We need stuff to do for the kids and for the family. So that park consists of a quarter-mile jogging trail, walking jogging trail. It has a nice little multi-family palapa for you want to go out there and gather, during Easter or just in summer in general. And then we're gonna have some little palapitas, single-family palapas, nice little barbecue pit, picnic table, and then we're gonna have an obstacle course for the kids, for the teenagers. So it's gonna be different than just your regular playscape, your swing set. I wanted to make it a little bit more interactive. Right now, fitness being something popular in the community. It's going to be like a fitness center, like a American Ninja Warrior type of deal, like a Spartan Races type of deal, that type of obstacle course. So it's going to be exciting for the Presa community, and it's not going to be just for them. Anybody could come and visit this park. It's going to be done in about a couple of weeks. We're going to have the ribbon cutting, but it's long overdue in that area. There was monies allotted back when the previous commissioner was there. The difference to that project that person had in mind to me was, when I took office, the money was already plugged in for a park in that area. The design and it was already awarded to a contracting company. It was going to be a baseball field. No fence, there's no running water out there. no scoreboard, no bleachers.
It's
Just going to be a field, an open field, $160,000. I don't think that was really,
It's not cost effective with
exactly.
money.
So I went back to square one. I went back to the drawing boards with the architects, and we threw ideas left and right, and we spoke to the community from that area and said, we were asking what the needs are. Phase 2 is going to consist of like where the horses, kind of like an arena, like a mini arena for the horses, where they can go and just practice the horses or do some rodeo stuff. That's going to be phase 2 in that area because I think it's popular in that area and they do like it. We're going to put out some soccer fields in phase 2. But this was the best, best bang for the buck, the best idea from the community itself, the input. So that's why this project took a little bit longer, because we had to go back to the drawing boards and make sure that the community members, more than anything, take advantage and not only have an open field with, rocks and dirt, out there for 160,000. So that's one of the things. That's why I want to do it.
But it's good that you did that, because that seems to be the norm. They do this and they just kind of like, oh, we're going to be able to build the park.
Yeah.
But nobody looks what they're designing. All of a sudden they go out there and oh, that's what we got.
And then the community out there, they didn't want baseball. Baseball. We want this. We want that. We want soccer. So having the community's input in mind is beneficial for obviously for them. But yeah, that's one of the projects that's currently in play right now. It's going to be finished in a couple of weeks. We're excited to open the doors for that.
Let me interrupt for a little bit. Is Magana-Hine, it's not incorporated, so Magana-Hine is what? Is it a colonia?
It's just a colonia.
Or just a community that just...
It's a colonia. It's been established for about 30 years. They have no running water. They have no running sewer. It's been an ongoing battle by the community members that live in Magana-Hine. There's streets that need to be paved out there. That colonia itself has different issues that we need to address, and we're going to continue to address them. So right now, when I mentioned no running water, for whatever reason, the platting of the properties when they were by the developer way back then are not coinciding with the boundary lines, with the deeds that are out there. So you might have one owner encroaching into another owner. You might have one owner on deed, on paper, that is not the real owner, and somebody else lives out there, and they've been out there for 20 plus years. And this other owner on paper, you can't find them. There's a lot of issues with the platting and the deeds that are in existence right now and recorded. Per se, that's one of the main reasons that there is no grants available out there to be able to bring water to those colonias.
And how can we fix that? What's going to be the next step to get that straight away?
So the process needs to be replatted. That's the first step. The whole area needs to be replatted. And there was talks about the people coming together and wanting to, but to my knowledge, the previous conversations in the past before I took office was, it's easier said than done when it comes about replatting a whole subdivision. When you have properties encroaching one another and you have structures encroaching one another, you're gonna have to knock down this part of the house. You're gonna have to, move this fence 10 feet back or to the left or to the right. The property owners themselves are not happy with that situation. It's not their fault. They were just, that's the way it was developed way before, and I don't blame the property owners. I think they and themselves need more help than anything right now. But just to replat, you're looking at a lot of money, and then you have to have every property owner on board saying they want to go through the replanting surface. If you have some property owners that do not want it, then it's not going to happen. And that's the main issue. That's why I haven't been able to apply or qualify for grant funding to bring water and sewage out here. Nevertheless, we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue to work on it. But I'm proud to say that, because right now the situation is, if I live in Magana-Hine and I want water for the week for my family for vegetation,
you have to bring it in.
We have to truck it in. So the nearest water dispenser is in Masterson Road, which is a couple miles, 2-3 miles, north of the area.
Is that potable water or not potable?
It's potable water. They have to go and truck it. Sometimes it's a long line, takes hours, because that's the only dispenser in South Laredo. Sometimes the coin machine is full, it's not going to dispense any more water. Sometimes the water runs out. So when that happens, they have to go all the way to the golf course to the second year's dispenser. And that, for me, is unacceptable. You have these families
for sure.
having a hard work, one full day, a couple days to get running water to their home. And for me, when I spoke about this, I checked previous agenda items in the past. There was always discussions about bringing a water dispenser to the community.
And why hasn't that happened?
It was just talks. There was items, informative items in the past before I took office, but never, the action was never taken by whoever was there, before. Right now I'm proud to say that, we just closed RFQs for, proposals for an engineer to come in and engineer all the specs and the designs for that water dispenser. We have $500,000 set aside for that project. It should be finished by the end of this year. The Presa subdivision or Mangana Hain area will have their own water dispenser dedicated just for them. It's going to be a state-of-the-art dispenser, potable water. You're not going to, it's not going to take quarters anymore. It's going to be, you pre-charge your account, you put in a code, open 24/7, accessible not only during the day, but more than anything, they won't have to travel outside anymore of their area. It's going to be literally right behind our community center, right next to the park. So that's an exciting project that's already, in the works. We're in the design phases right now. That shouldn't take a couple months, and after that,
How many of those communities do we have in Webb County that are in that type of predicament?
I believe Mangana Hain, Colorado Acres on 59. There's quite a few that do not have running water, do not have sewer. I think Pueblo Nuevo does. FM 3338, Penitas does. So there's quite a few out there, and we're doing, as a court, doesn't matter if, I represent the South, and we're going to do what's
It's that
best.
humanitarian thing that, that's what I've seen in difference between this court and previous courts. Here, you all are more like, let's get this done.
Exactly.
Let's find a way to get this done, whether it's you, whether it's Commissioner Galo, Commissioner Tijerina, or Commissioner Leandro, and as well as a judge. If there's a solution, you guys are coming up with a solution, not coming up with a counter argument to something. No, it's now, let's get it done.
Yeah,
it's enough's enough. Let's not kick the can down the road.
You're right.
And that's what's happened way too much. And now it's I'm seeing it a little bit different. I've seen it also in council, but that's a different story.
It's beneficial to who? It's beneficial to all the Webb County constituents that represent and that are taxpayers, because at the end of the day, when you have a court that's united and working together and we're pulling the weight, we're pulling the same weight, and we don't have one or two or three pulling the opposite, that's when we have issues. I'm proud to say, and I know the judge always says it, we have a very united court. We're there for the best interest of the community in general. And at the end of the day, whatever projects need to be done in certain areas, not only in my precinct, I'm going to fully support those projects, because that's what we want. We want the people to be out there to have, the best that they can as far as, county-wise, being represented.
You're absolutely correct. What else? What other things are going on? That's one.
That's one. The water
How
dispenser.
about Life Downs? What's going on with Life Downs?
The fairgrounds. We're excited to say it's rolling. It's on the right path. Last Commissioners Court meeting was a very tough meeting for me, and I want to say in general for everybody. We had 3 very, very well represented firms applying for the engineering contract, engineering architect, all that. And
Are they from here, from Laredo, or are they from?
All 3 of them were gathered throughout. They were kind of like, they built their nice team, and it was like, a dream team. They had the best of the best representing. And each one of those companies had local representation, and that's what I liked. And they understand, they saw in each company, it was a very tough decision. I could have gone either way, and I know it would have still been a right choice, because all 3 companies were very well equipped. But each one had a local representation, and that's basically what we want. We want somebody from Laredo being a part of this, because we need, the input of Webb County. We need the input of local representation. So at the end of the day, it was a very tough decision.
And who was awarded that?
The company is called Hansen, I believe, and they're based out of Tennessee. But they have teams throughout, that represent, I think Dallas, Laredo. So they're from all around Texas as well, and their main focus is fairgrounds. I believe they built, or they were the ones, involved with the Nueces County Fairgrounds, Judge Borcher's fairgrounds. Those are very nice fairgrounds.
And we need that, because that's kind of our meeting place. That's kind of where there's a lot of events that are taking place. We don't have a civic center. We have the arena and we have the fairgrounds. So the fairgrounds has taken the heart of a lot of the stuff that's coming in.
And we're missing out. Why? Because we don't have the amenities that we need to host stock shows, to host rodeos, to host concerts, festivals. The plans are out there. They're on the website. You go to the courthouse, we have the big plans out there. You should see this project. It's going to be a really nice project. It's going to bring a lot of people from different places together, not only Laredo or Webb County, but it's going to be a good investment.
What's the time frame where it starts construction and the projected date of finishing?
The timeline, I think we're on board. We're on track with the timeline. I do want to say we're going to do it in 2 phases where we don't interrupt the complete, operations of the fairgrounds, because we do have life every year. We do have Menudo every year, and so on and so forth. So we're going to do phase 1, and it's going to take about a year. And then when phase 1 is done, we're going to move to phase 2 while phase 1 opens up. And then that one will be about another year and a half. So we're looking by the end of 2021, everything's going to be nice and complete, and at the end of the day, Webb County, Laredo is going to be really benefit from this. Different events, different counties, projects.
You see Zapata, you see Freer, you see Alice, you see everybody else. They're having it.
And when
And how come Laredo? How come we don't have it? We have the same people, and we're going out there.
The fairgrounds have been, stagnant for the longest time. No renovation. It's hard to upkeep a property of that size. We understand that. M&O, maintenance and operations, is going to be, it's going to be a responsibility by the county. But at the end of the day, we need these type of, fairgrounds, because we have so much potential. We have the population. We've been growing nonstop, and we looked at a radius from, if we're going to bring in Hemenville out here, Freer, Zapata, Encinal, and not only that, we have to keep in mind how many people cross on a daily basis back and forth from Mexico. They're going to come and do business here. They're going to come and buy and So we also incorporated that type of population. We had to count it because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make these events, succeed. If we bring a concert, monster trucks out here, some tournaments, we're not going to, of course, the most important one is the kids. FFA programs, the life, show every year in March. That's what we want to do. We want to grow, educational stuff for our kids. We want to grow the 4-H programs, FFA programs, to be out there and have the means that they need to have, that they deserve to have, to better enjoy everything all around in general.
No, you're absolutely correct. On another note, let's take safety. Safety is a big concern. You're a peace officer yourself. Do we have any future plans in expanding a jail, bringing in a jail, or doing anything else like that?
So we did have that referendum about a year ago. The people spoke. 2 years ago, the people spoke. But, we can't just say, oh, well, pues ya no se va a hacer, it didn't happen, let it be. We have an existing jail that is outdated. We have an existing jail that surpassed its lifespan, built in 1986, not even close to capacity to what we need right now with population. So there's always plan B and C and D, so we need to keep pumping money in there. We're going to pump $3 million of Webb County funds to the jail because it needs to be upkept with jail standards and regulations by the state. Luckily, and not by luck, but by hard work and dedication, the sheriff has passed jail inspection every year for the past 11 years. That's not easy. I've worked the jail, and it's just a beast in itself. And every day there's issues with the mechanisms that are there. The cells, they're so outdated that they don't make parts for those locking mechanisms or jail cells anymore. So we have to improvise.
And if they expand it next to it and make another one?
That's been also talks about expanding and going up, but if you pay attention to the trend and to the, I guess, research that's out there, jails don't go up anymore. They're harder to fund, they're harder to upkeep, elevators wise, you need certain elevators, but more than anything, per every floor right now, we have 4 floors in the Webb County Jail. Because it's in different floors and it's not spread outward, you need more officers per ratio to meet the ratio by jail standards.
Sure.
So that's the issue.
The other one will be more of like a spider web looking.
The other one, exactly. You branch out. You have they're called pods, and now you have one jailer, in charge of way more than just a norm by jail standards. So that's the trend right now. That's the more popular way to go. So unfortunately, jails don't go up anymore, up in different stories or floors or whatever you want to call it. So that's why.
Changing it. What else? What else do we have?
Well-
What else can we see that you're gonna be bringing in, or the county's gonna be bringing in this year?
So I'm gonna go ahead and announce it right here. I haven't announced it anywhere else. I'm gonna bring it to the court, and not this coming Monday, but the following meeting.
Okay?
We did get approved, and I say we, the county, we applied for a grant to be able to build the splash pads like that are around the city, the mini splash parks. We went and applied for it, one for Rio Bravo, one in Precinct 2 with Commissioner Tijerina. We did get award already. We did, meet the requirements by the Parks and Wildlife, Commission. So we are going to be bringing a splash pad to the Rio Bravo area.
Sure.
It's going to be about a $250,000 investment. Again, first ever in Webb County, along with Precinct 2. There was talks in the past, for whatever reason, action was never taken. But I'm proud to say that Rio Bravo is going to be, they're going to be excited because again, I repeat myself, Rio Bravo is Cenizo. If you want to come to a splash park or to enjoy a swimming pool, you have to travel miles away, and that's we're trying to make it better for them, more beneficial more than anything. And I do say Rio Bravo and not at Cenizo because I chose one over the other. But the county has more land in Rio Bravo. But
And it does in Cenizo.
Exactly. So we're making it to where it's big enough to accommodate both, Rio Bravo and Cenizo residents out there. So it's exciting, and that was already we're gonna have the letter of award be accepted by the court, hopefully, at the next commissioner's court meeting, and then from there on, it's just gonna be the procurement process to get the ball rolling. So hopefully we break ground, of course, sometime in the fall of this year.
That's good. Those are great. Those are great projects.
Those are
great projects. Those are great projects, and you still have how much more time? And then you're going to be running again.
This is my third year. So I think I've been proactive enough to say that starting my third year, we've been keeping up with opportunities to do stuff. More than anything, projects that are there for the community. We've been proactive, helping public safety, law enforcement. 44 brand new vehicles, by the court to different law enforcement agencies, not only the sheriff's office but constables throughout the precincts. And I believe it's been a while since we would again come together as a court and be able to provide more for public safety, more for the community. So these are the type of projects that I'm proud to say, I'm part of this court. I'm part of this court. I'm a team member. And we're bringing a lot of great projects, a lot of great resources, more positions that are needed to better serve our community in a whole, in general.
That's awesome. Now, what would you say? There's one thing that I need to fulfill, and this is what before my time is up, I want to make sure it's going to be done. What would you say? That's what you want to do. What would you want to do?
I need to continue to help the people from the Colonia area, from La Presa. No running water, no sewage for me is unacceptable. We're not in a third world country.
Exactly.
So I'm going to continue to fight. I'm going to continue to meet and plan and come up with solutions. But that'll be, in a sense, my one project that I say, okay, I feel comfortable enough to where I helped all around. This is what I need to get done. I need to pave the back street, which is La Presa Road, and that one's more, it's doable. We're going to be able to do that. But bringing water and sewage, is my main one. And constituents from that area ask me, why can't you pave the back street? What's the big deal? Why do you continue to just maintain it with a motor grader and scrape it and resurface it? We've asked for grants, and I like to do these type of shows, Paul, because we get to educate the constituents more than anything. In order for me to pave that back road, we won't qualify for grants because there is no running water or sewage. So that means if let's say the state or a federal grant, here's $1 million to pave the street. If we pave that street, I believe it's like a 3-mile or 4-mile stretch. If we pave it and then we bring water and sewage, what's going to happen to the street?
You're going to have to reopen.
We're going to have to reopen every part of the street to run the whole distribution system, and then it's going to be all patchy. That's why we don't qualify for grants, and I do want to do it in-house. I do, believe me. I know I have good colleagues, good court members. The judge also, he believes in progression. But the water distribution system, the sewage distribution system, that's what we need to be, fighting for. Then, of course, the paving comes. Because again, if I pave it right now, it's not going to make sense. We're going to have to open it up all over again, and you're going to have it all patchy, and we can't go really backwards. If I want to do it, I want to do it right the first time. So that's that's my project, in La Presa. When I complete those projects, I can say, you know what, I fulfill my duties as a county commissioner because of all the areas that I listen to. 30 years, no running water or sewage. That's tough.
No, you're absolutely correct, and that's the reason why we have the ranchette laws here in Texas.
Exactly.
Because people took advantage of a lot of people. And also people didn't want to pay taxes and wanted to move out, and all of a sudden they get stuck in this hole that they were promised, and all of a sudden nothing's there.
No.
And unfortunately, that's what happens when our taxes are raised and people cannot afford to pay taxes inside the city. They move out,
Correct.
and they're swindled into or connived into this type of living environment. And this has happened. That's happened all over the place, and that's why we have those laws.
It's unfortunate, but we're not gonna stop. We're gonna continue to be proactive in a sense and being involved. We need to find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done. I'm not even close to being started in that area. So that's going to be it. That's going to be my main one.
Another topic that we've been hearing a lot of is the bridge. How are we coming along with that bridge?
The 405 bridge, I'm involved in the MPO committee, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which consists of TxDOT, city, and county. The judge brought me on board. I want to thank the judge for doing that because, Precinct 1 in itself needs a lot of, attention from TxDOT and from the MPO. The 405 bridge, there's been talks within the city, in the county about where is the placement, where would it be more favorable. If you look at Rio Bravo and Cenizo area, we have a water plant, not even close to capacity, that we can have there for the growth. Because if you build the 405 bridge over there, you're going to have more commercial property, you're going to have more residential property, and we're ready as a county with that water plant. We're ready for the growth. We're ready for what's come. What's
going to spark
exactly.
in the future, right?
So we're good to go on that end. And then talking about the outer loop, there's where we can connect the outer loop with the 405 bridge that can take you from 83 South all the way to the mile marker 13 or 18. And being in the MPO, being very much involved, we're looking at these studies carefully. Right now we're in the phases of having a feasibility study for the outer loop. TxDOT's already on board with that. So we are going to have the outer loop. We're fighting for the 405 bridge on South Laredo. I believe it's just going to boom the economy. Now, yes, I understand. With the 405 bridge, you're going to have traffic, and we don't want warehouse. I hear the concerns. We don't want South Laredo or 83 South to become the next Mines Road. That's why you plan ahead. That's what the 405 bridge. You're talking about 5-10 years down the road. But the mechanisms and the ball is rolling already. So we need to make sure we plan correctly with city leaders, county leaders, everybody else that's going to be involved, TxDOT. Cuatro Vientos Road South. We need overpasses. Just like we're building right now in Clark and 359. The next one is going to be Del Mar, Jackman. So we're going to be good in the north part of the loop. The south part, we need our overpasses. So I'm already asking. In the MPO, I'm asking TxDOT, where's the funding? Where's the next 5 to 10 years in funding for overpasses for Cuatro Vientos South? What are we going to be doing for if the bridge does happen in South Laredo, which we're fighting for? We don't want traffic to be stagnant. We want to make sure we have solutions.
Right. Well, you want it to flow, not what happened over here.
We want to do it right the first time instead of coming back and now the city's there. Now we need to do the overpasses. Why can't we do it right the first time? Expect the growth because we're growing nonstop, especially
it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
That's the way it is, and I think it boosts the economy all around. With more jobs, more homes, more of everything. More schools are going to pop up, so that's always a plus.
I was looking at some of the graduating classes. 1,200 here, 1,300 here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have 1,200, 1,500 here, let's say 1,500, let's say 750 come back in 10 years, and you double, that's already 1,500 more people that just came back.
Jobs.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's every year that's happening. So those 1,500 kids are going to be 3,000 in 5 more years.
Exactly.
Understand what I'm saying?
That's
the way it is. And Laredo's growing faster. And what people understand it's doing. I mean, and we cannot degress. People say, "Oh, we're progressing." Which way? We can progress down, or we can progress up. Which way is the progression going?
Exactly. Very well.
You know what I'm saying? Let's do it to the positive.
Mm-hmm. That's why the planning part of it, in any type of project, needs to be thought properly and carefully, just like the fairgrounds. What's the first thing that the judge and the commissioner's court inquired about when it came to fairgrounds? The first couple of things. Yeah, we want nice buildings, we want this, but at the end of the day, traffic. How is it going to flow from 59 to the loop? That's always a big concern when you have a big event out there. So we're taking traffic into consideration. We're in Laredo. It's hot. We understand that. So let's have some shades out there. That's another thing. We need to plan properly. We have to make sure we're doing it right the first time. But these are the type of ideas and the thoughts that you need to have as a county representative, as an elected official in general. You need to have your thought process carefully played out before you execute a big project or a minimal project, whatever it is. You need to make sure we have our ducks in a row. You don't want to go backwards, like you said.
You can't. I mean, you can, but you don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to.
You don't want to. And that's great news. That's great news. And again, we're glad to have you.
Oh, no, appreciate it. I want to come back. Definitely come back.
We'll come back. Your doors are open. Coming over. Come back in a couple of months. And
as the projects are progressing, I want to come back.
You know what? Come back and say, this is what we got. Come back at the end of the summer. You know what? We've got this, and the doors are open.
We'll do that.
Come in. And folks, if you got anything else or any questions, please give our commissioner a call. He's more than happy.
They can call my office at 523-4660. They can check out on social media. I'm very active on social media, guys. Commissioner Jesse Gonzalez, like the page, stay involved. Free events for the community, upcoming projects that are going to be out there. But more than anything, guys, it's me running the page. I'm the one that's responding. A lot of people are surprised when I respond quickly. Is it really you? And I go, of course it's me. That's the way I connect with my constituents. And it's always a learning experience when I hear of issues throughout my precinct. Because if I don't know about it, I don't live in Rio Bravo, I don't live in Cenizo, nor, I don't live in Santo Niño, or I live in Chacon area. I do live in Precinct 1, born and raised, but if I don't live in your area and there's a concern, reach out to me. Even though it's not my responsibility, I can always guide you the right way, try to see how we can help.
Folks, until next time, remember, there's a bunch of kids out there, school's already out. Be careful when you guys are driving bikes, skateboards, everything else. Until next time, peace. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Hola.
If you've ever wondered, if you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956-401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there. Gloves Off is always on point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.